Welcome, everybody, back to another episode. We're the XoneBros. This is podcast number 340. As always, I am joined by the bros, the XoneBros. First and foremost, it is the man. It is the man with the mullet in his hair.
Hey!
It is Mr. McSpicy, Mark Haywood.
How's it going?
Next, it's Jordan the man.
Hello.
And last but not least, I am X1. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for being here. It was a big week of news, a big week of Xbox news. We were actually just talking during the show, the pre-show. Immortals Rising. Is it Immortals Rising Phoenix or Phoenix Immortals Rising?
Yeah, Immortals Phoenix Rising.
That's what it is. Immortals Phoenix Rising. We've all been sitting back, watching it, debating. Do we pull the trigger? Do we not pull the trigger? It looks really good. Mm-hmm. But Cyberpunk is just around the corner. And
next week.
Can we...
And it's
pretty
beat? Official that it's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming.
Pretty official.
What if they pull it like last minute and they're like, oh, we're delaying it again?
That would be... At this point, that would be really bad. That would be really bad.
Speaking of games and playing games and video games, we had our game of the month last month. We have the Game Club Game of the Month. We have it every month. It's a game that we play together as a community. You can join us and join our discussion of our Game Club Game of the Month over in Discord at discord.com or XoneBros.com/Discord. It'll take you right there. We have a Game Club channel. Come join us there. Our Game of the Month for last month, for the month of November, was AC Valhalla.
Oh, yeah.
So let's recap it one last time. Who's going to finish AC Valhalla at this table?
We had goals?
I'm going to say not me.
No, I'm still going to finish it. It's just everything came out.
Dude.
And I will
everything
say,
came out.
I did get, 30, 40 hours in before I got distracted
I'm
with other
like
games.
60 plus
Ooh,
at this
nice.
point, yeah.
Overall, let's just do, because we've talked about it so much already, I want to give you a full recap. AC Valhalla, impressions, thoughts, spicy, go. Just a recap, real quick.
Okay. I like it. It's a really fun game. I wish that I could 100% areas, but I can't because some of the quests are glitched.
There's some glitches there, yeah.
That was a little disheartening. Besides that, I like killing things, and I like pillaging, and I like using really big weapons on both my hands.
What is your favorite weapon? Your weapon
Spear.
of choice? The spear?
Spear.
Very
I love
nice.
it.
Jordan.
It's nice in range.
Jordan.
I'm not done.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done. I thought it was like a
the
nice
game.
transition. There you go.
Now take it over.
Jordan, tell me, AC Valhalla was our Game Club Game of the Month last month. Thoughts?
Yeah,
impressions, overview.
I really liked it too. I agree with everything Mark says, especially the 100%ing zones.
Yeah.
So I did notice they fixed one of my quests
That's
in the
good.
latest patch. But
Which is it the newest one?
No, it was the fishing one, where the fishing bowl wouldn't
See,
highlight.
I did not have that one. I was able to complete that one.
So and then I believe they did fix my puzzle. You know, the light puzzles that you do.
Yeah.
Because what happened is the very first light puzzle you find, you have
This
to
one's
move.
bad.
You have to move these bars, right? And
Sure.
they light up blocks, which then make them solid, so you can jump on them,
Yeah.
right? By default, on this very first puzzle, the bar is shooting at the thing.
Yeah, I know.
The
This
first
is
one.
This
Yeah.
is the glitch.
Yeah, mine was shooting in the air, and there's like nothing you can do.
How much time did you spend trying to figure that
and you guys
puzzle
were
out?
calling me stupid.
I know. We're like,
I was like, I don't understand this one. How'd you? And
I did that literally in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask them for help because I'm like, if they can figure it out, I can figure this
Wait,
out. So
it's
I'm
the
climbing.
light that you have to point at the block, and then the block goes solid?
Yeah. So by default, as the mission starts, there's a light. So there's 3 squares. The light is on the second square, the middle square, and then it by default points at the first square, and you jump into the first square, then you jump to the middle square, then you have to grab the light and turn it to the third square, and then jump, right? Mine was pointing in the sky.
So you couldn't turn
So
it?
it was, yeah.
couldn't
so
even jump.
Put it down?
So I think it was Barbara Blake and McSpicy were calling me stupid because they're like, that was like the easiest one.
And then when he would leave the party, we'd be like, oh my gosh, what an idiot.
I know, and I'm
How
sitting
could you
there.
not do this? You're just trying to-
I am literally climbing trees. And I'm like, how do they? Oh, come on! If they can,
This
figure
is a
this
crazy
out. Yeah, if
puzzle.
they can figure that. How did they figure this
And then
out?
it's
Not
just a
me. What's
glitch.
going on? Right? And then I did give in. I was like, I can't do this. So I went to YouTube, and I was like, oh,
It's
it's
a glitch.
broken. Sorry. Yeah.
That's funny.
So anyway, but that was my thing. Anyway, no, but I really like the game a lot. I think I'm going to say this, which is going to get a lot of hate.
Say it, baby.
I actually think I like this one better than Odyssey and Origins.
Oh, okay. You've gone back and forth on that.
Yeah, not those two weren't bad at all, but I think the one that sets this apart for me is I like the story, but that just may be a setting thing, like
Sure.
Vikings, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, all the settings are cool, but I liked Origins' story but it got assassin-y at the end. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I really like the Assassin's lore.
Sure.
When
Right?
it's good.
Yeah, when it's good, yeah.
Yeah. When it's bad, I don't like it.
Origins, well, actually, you know what? I don't know. I'm debating because Origins
See?
was good. 'Cause
You go back and forth.
See, no, Origins was good because it had that storyline with your son. If
Okay.
you remember that, that was a very emotional moment, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, let's leave Origins out of it. Odyssey, I do think the story is a little bit better in Valhalla than Odyssey because Odyssey was basically just about killing people,
Well,
which is good.
I would also add that you were playing as Alexios, or I was. I know other people could play at, what was her, Alexandra?
Something like that.
Yeah, the female version. Alexios. What?
Cassandra.
Cassandra, that's it. Alexios is one of my favorite characters in the whole series.
Yeah,
like, he is fantastic.
Well, he is funny.
Yeah,
Like,
he's really good.
He's
And
cool.
and Ivor is all right.
Yeah.
He's not Alexios.
He's not as charismatic, I
No.
think, as past ones.
Correct.
Well,
yeah.
Alexios kind of played it by ear. You know, he's like,
Yeah, he's like, let's kill this guy."
Yeah.
But I think
no,
think
but I-
Ivor is scarier.
No, I don't think so.
You don't
Because
think
he's
so?
just got a nice soft voice, and he's like,
It depends on the choices
No,
you
if
make.
if
you
I'm
know?
sitting in if I'm at a bar and I see Ivor across the way, I'm not getting in a fight with anybody in that bar, right? But
well,
if-
that's because. I mean, but that's the case with every single Assassin's Creed character, right?
Well, I feel like with
But like
Alexios,
Alexios, he'd be like, kill a guy and smile at you and buy you a beer.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like he wasn't as intimidating, I think, naturally. Like Vikings, I mean, by default, are pretty intimidating.
But see, Ivor's voice is just so soft spoken. He's just like, hello.
That-
would you
yeah,
like
yeah.
some
that's
hot
because
chocolate?
he talks with his ex.
He talks.
Would you like some hot chocolate? I guess that is creepy.
No, I do think I do like the overall story in Valhalla a little bit better. See, I'm kind of iffy on Origins because Origins was a pretty decent story, right? Odyssey was a good story. Given, I'll be honest, I never finished it, but from what I understood, it was mostly just about killing people,
Yeah.
which was great in its own right.
I would
right?
also add that I think this game was superior in how they did the inventory as far as your weapons and stuff like that.
The one thing, like you, I mean, we can argue the story and all that stuff all day. The one thing that does set it apart for me, especially the reason I do like it better than the previous two, is I love the combat.
Oh,
I think the combat is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the dual wielding. I didn't like it at first, but then I got the two greatest weapons in the game. I broke the game. I got
the
really,
hammer and the dagger.
yeah, I got really good at parrying, and I just it's very. I don't want to compare it to Dark Souls and like Sekiro because it's obviously not as difficult, right? But it's similar to that where you parrying matters, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Depending, and I really enjoyed the combat a lot.
Yeah.
So, but no, I liked it.
There you
That's
go.
a good game, yeah.
There you go. That is Assassin's Creed. That was our game of the month for November. Thank you, everybody, for participating, for playing along, for joining on the discussion, which means it's time to announce our Game Club game of the month for the month of December. Now, there are a lot of options. There's Control, which just dropped into Game Pass.
Dragon Quest.
There's Dragon Quest, which
Immortals.
is just releasing on Game Pass. But I wanted to be practical because I knew that everybody, let's be honest, is going to be playing Cyberpunk. And so our Game Club game of the month is
It's
Cyberpunk
Cyberpunk,
2077. It doesn't drop until a week from now, so stay tuned.
But
We'll have a week in chat over on Discord. We can talk about theories and updates and stuff until it drops. But we are going to be doing Cyberpunk
How many
2077.
in our Game Pass chat? How many pictures of people's genital customizations? do
Game
you think
Club,
we're gonna
yeah.
get?
We in fact
Put
do we-
spoilers.
we
yeah,
used-
we got to put a spoiler.
In
You got
fact,
to block
we
that
should
out.
revive. We used to run community challenges. Perhaps we revive the community challenge with
Most
genital
creative
customization.
Most creative.
Mr. Congeniality.
It'll be our only NSFW channel in our Discord. Guys, come join us over on Discord. We play games together every single month. It's just a great thing to do as a community. Again, XoneBros.com/Discord. You can join us over there if you have not yet. A lot of big news this week. I want to talk about 3 news stories in particular before we jump into the news. I mean, I guess we're just jumping into the news, but console wars.
Do you want me to hit the?
No, you're
is
good,
there
you're
like you looked at me like I was supposed to do
No,
something?
no, not at all.
I don't have anything prepared.
You looked
for
at me
that.
longingly with like questions in your eyes,
Well,
and I was
because I'm
trying
like,
to think like,
I
what?
didn't know if I was supposed to hit this button. You know,
there we go. Yeah.
Because you said you were doing the news, and then you said you weren't doing the news, and
No,
then you
there
looked
was
at
a
me
lot
like
of,
I'm doing the news.
Yeah, there was a lot of news surrounding Xbox, and I want to go over three things before we jump into the news. The first one is console wars. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella was asked by a shareholder what was being done to set Xbox apart from the PS5 to win the console war. Here's what Satya Nadella had to say. He said, "The broader vision we have is to ensure that the 3 billion gamers out there are able to play their games anywhere they want, with all the content they want, and with whom they want to. And that's really what we are building our strategy around. You've seen us double our content portfolio with ZeniMax acquisition. You see us make advances in our community efforts and our subscription offers with Game Pass, and that's what you can expect from us. We are absolutely very, very much focused on gaming and ensuring that all the 3 billion gamers around the world get the best content, the best community, and the best cloud services to power their gaming experiences going forward." Jordan, let's just start with you. Any thoughts, takeaways from what he was saying? I mean, as a CEO, he's obviously not going to be able to say like, well, here's how we plan to beat Sony in the console wars.
Yeah. I mean,
in fact,
that was a very strategic answer.
Yeah, in fact, they're not really. I mean, and I appreciate about them, and I don't think the heads at Sony are either. But Phil Spencer doesn't like the console wars. I think they view it as a business competitor, but console wars are kind of this idea that it's taken to a whole other level, and you can't appreciate the good things that each console has to offer, or each system or ecosystem. But what did you take? Any thoughts just from what the head of Microsoft had to say there?
I think it kind of reaffirms that Microsoft is focused on games, right? I mean, now you can laugh because Microsoft's a little lacking on the first-party titles, but the steps that they're doing and making are bringing in games, right? I mean, like just talking about the ZeniMax acquisition, right? But even before the ZeniMax acquisition, how many studios did they buy and build and have that are now currently working on those first-party games, right? And then we, of course, doubled that with ZeniMax acquisition. So, I mean, it just kind of reaffirms that Microsoft is focused on games. I mean, of course, it would be nice to have all those first-party games now and soon, right? But obviously, these things take time. I think when they start to come out, like next year when we start to see some of these first-party titles come out, I think that's when everything will start rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
well, we've been saying for a long time that Xbox's strategy is not short-term at all.
Yeah,
It's
agreed.
long-term. And we're in betwixt.
Oh, I like that.
We're in betwixt
Old
the
English.
short term and the long term.
In honor of
he's been
Christmas.
playing Valhalla.
Yeah, I've been playing Valhalla.
Yeah.
We're right there in between, and things are going to start rolling out pretty good in the next little while. But until then, we're in between.
Yeah.
We're in betwixt. So
Spicy, any thoughts on what he had to say there about, how he's positioning Xbox, or how Microsoft is positioning Xbox to compete against other consoles this generation?
I mean, it was a very good answer. It was a very polite answer, political answer, I guess you'd say. But I think he's saying we got stuff too, kind of a thing. Underneath the hood of that whole comment and that whole interview, it's we got things coming and it's going to be big, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it also mentions, because I like how Microsoft in the past few years has been very consumer friendly, right? And
Sure.
he says that in the first sentence, the 3 billion gamers out there to be able to play their games anywhere they want, right? We've seen that shift with Microsoft.
I mean, that's the xCloud.
Yeah, we got the xCloud.
Game
We got
Pass.
all this cross-save stuff, smart delivery, right? You know what I mean? Very consumer friendly, which I don't think they get enough credit for.
No, it's true. I mean,
which is really good. I mean, and some people have mentioned how consumer friendly they are, and they've talked about they don't know if it hurts them or not. Even I've been in this category. I think, like, for example, let's take Halo Infinite. I mean, do you release it for the original Xbox One, or you just keep it Series S and X only, right? Because then you have the full power, because at a certain point the old console does limit you. You know what I mean?
Well, sure.
Just in instances of, like, let's just say draw distance or something like that. Games are developed so you know what I mean? So,
well,
you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm getting at here?
And on top of that, if you want to sell hardware,
yeah,
strategically, you should just cut off your old consoles
And jump to
make
the new
it
one.
so that only the new console hardware
Yeah.
has that new game, like
Yeah.
Sony's doing, because that's the traditional way to
Yeah.
do it, right? So
So-
they're not doing that. They're taking a different perspective. They're looking more long term. They're looking more at the subscription. That's their model, not necessarily the hardware model.
So, and I mean, to be honest, I've been in that boat too, where I'm like, why do they have Halo Infinite on the old console? Just put it on the new one, so then you can just really take advantage of that hardware, right? Instead of being held back by the old hardware. But I mean, like Mark said, long term,
Well, I don't think it
That's
is going to be
consumer
held
friendly.
back by the old hardware, though.
Well, yes, it will. Just by default, it will.
Well, no, but if you're on the old hardware, it will be held back. But if you're on the new hardware,
Well, no, because so that's why I use the example of like draw distance, right? So like you have to have a certain amount of hardware to see as far as you can,
Sure.
right?
Well,
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Older consoles with older hardware, they do things to like they put a cliff in the way right here. They make you go around, so you can't.
So you're
you know
talking
what I mean?
about, like,
so like the way the game is
complete
developed,
world building.
The way the game is developed is thinking
yeah,
how
in
this
those-
whole
in
hardware
those
can
terms, I
handle
see
it,
what
right?
you're saying,
Now that's
yeah.
just a very small example, but an example, and you can go from there, right?
Well,
so
like Destiny's Vault.
yeah, what you would never think of.
You'd never think that the inventory in the game is limited by the hardware, but it was, and it is, and it was, and they let us know, hey,
yeah.
hey, just so you know, people on that old stuff, we can't help you. We're just leaving you behind.
Well, I love how
if you
they're
want to play this game to its full inventory capacity, you got to get
gotta
the new
move.
stuff.
You gotta
Yeah,
jump.
yeah.
That was funny how they were just like, it's over. So,
To me, oh, sorry, go ahead,
oh
Jordan.
no, I was just gonna say, but I mean, that being said, I do like the fact that, I mean, that's very consumer friendly.
Yeah.
Having the game across all generations, being able to play where you want, right? I mean, I think that's the focus they're going for.
To me, and we did a video on this news story earlier this week. So if you've not yet, if you're listening to this podcast, come subscribe to us, XoneBros, over on YouTube. We're dropping videos throughout the week. But we did a video on this, and I talked about what stood out to me is that he mentioned ZeniMax, right? So the question is, what are you doing to set Xbox apart from the PS5 to win the console war? And he mentioned ZeniMax. And there was all these articles, Bethesda games might be on PS5. This, again, which I think has always been grasping at straws. We talked about that last week.
What they've been saying. has been crafting strategy.
This solidifies the fact that, we have what sets us apart? You know that $7 billion purchase that we made with ZeniMax? That's what sets us apart, right? And he concludes that he also doubles down on Game Pass, right? And so those two things, I think, combined, you can see Microsoft's head where it's at going forward, where their strategy is at. And I think it's good. I think it's the correct strategy. Obviously, we'll wait and see if it's the correct strategy or not. But
people, I mean, when they say play their games anywhere, I think they're talking about xCloud.
xCloud,
You know what I mean?
Game Pass.
I don't
yeah.
think they're talking about Nintendo and PlayStation. I think they're talking about xCloud. You know what I
That's
mean?
for sure what they're talking
right?
Yeah.
You know,
No, absolutely. It was interesting, and it's always interesting when a shareholder asks about the head of Microsoft about console wars, which shows you how important Xbox has become to the Microsoft brand, right?
I wonder,
It's
do you have to
really
like
interesting.
submit your questions before you go in there?
Oh no, it's a
Or is it just
call.
open? It's
I actually was thinking about this because looking at this answer, it's a really good answer.
Well, it's a very political
It's
answer.
political
Yeah,
answer,
very-
but he has little jabs in there that you wouldn't think that are there.
Do you
But
want to know
he's
what
like,
sets
Well,
us
they
like,
prep. I'm sure they prep.
I'll bet you CEOs, like good CEOs,
Yeah.
have maxed out their charisma modifier. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they have. They,
Oh, you
they
don't
just
make it to the top.
because I
Without
could
being
never,
maxed out on charisma.
on the fly. When you dissect this reply, I could never come up with that.
They're like, well,
they suck. We're good. Next
well,
question.
We're trying to be better.
Well, and you're right. You know, you've seen us double our content with our ZeniMax acquisition, right? So
yeah, that is.
Yeah.
The
If they
difference-
if they were a Fallout game, they would just hit that all the way to the right on the charisma.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
no,
then
absolutely.
and then your strength is just sucky. You can't use the armor. You know.
Yeah. This next, let's bring up. There's some Digital Foundry
Oh,
videos
yeah.
that this week went
I like
over, and
Digital
they were comparing third-party titles of Xbox Series X and PS5, and looking at them and saying, okay, how do these compare? How do they perform together? The big one was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's the one that I'd just like to use for purposes of here. Yes, and the Series X, touted as the most powerful console on the planet, was outperformed consistently by the PS5.
Can I ask?
Yes.
On top of that, I know we're going to dissect this a lot.
Sure.
Does this include the patch that was recently released?
No,
Because-
that patch was after this.
Okay,
that patch
'cause
was the response.
I
to this.
immediately noticed performance boosts
Yeah.
on my Series
And
X,
that's-
and the tearing was gone.
And
right?
that's
So-
exactly what it was. So the big issue here, just to review, I'll read through this story here real quick before we discuss it. The big issue was frame rates and frame tearing. So the PS5 held pretty consistently throughout, whereas the Series X did not. There were significant drops of frames. There was frame tearing the whole shot. Xbox did release a patch, not Xbox, but Ubisoft released the patch that did fix this, and now they are on par and compared to each other. But natively, it just didn't drop that way. Here is what Tom Warren over at The Verge had to say about it. He says, these performance gaps, weird bugs, and differences between the Xbox Series X and PS5 versions of the game look like issues related to the games rather than a platform problem for the Xbox. That's what, I mean, there was a lot of critics out there saying, looks like the Xbox isn't as powerful as it claims to be, and that doesn't seem to be an accurate analysis. That's what Tom Warren's saying here. He said, if Microsoft delivered dev kits and tools far later than Sony, then it could take creators more time to optimize further for Xbox. It may also explain why we didn't see a lot of Xbox Series X gameplay in the months ahead of launch, but Sony was happy to regularly deliver PS5 gameplay. Phil Spencer did say in previous interviews that they didn't get out the dev kits until late this summer because they were waiting for some technology from AMD, namely that RDNA 2 technology to come out. That is something that is unique to Xbox over PlayStation. So in waiting for that, they got it out late to developers. Developers couldn't take full advantage or learn how to take full advantage of the system. And that is apparently, at least the reason being stated, why it seems that on these third-party titles, the PS5 is and was performing better than the Xbox Series X. Thoughts?
I mean
Spicy.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense that if you give the developers, if you don't give them their dev kits and all the stuff that they need, it's going to have to come later, right? Like Jordan said earlier about games and game development, this stuff takes time. It takes time, and so that's what happened. So the PS5 was able to get their kits out, I guess.
Yeah, and apparently
long time sooner.
Yeah, and apparently, according to Tom Warren, anyways, he's talked to developers who have said that Sony has just been really open all along, even with the PS4 generation, about how to use their software, about support.
Yeah,
and Microsoft is just starting to get to that
They've had
point.
really good developer tools for them to
yeah.
use, right? Where that, I mean, that's a little bit on Microsoft too. I mean, their team, they're doing this now, right?
Yeah.
From what we know, but their team needs to get good at giving the developers the development.
good, bro.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Learn to play.
I don't know how to explain it, but they need to do a good job at getting the developers the toolkits that they need to properly,
Do you think
optimize games for the consoles, right?
Do you think Xbox was just more concerned about being the first release on the hardware?
No, I think it looks like what they were concerned about was making sure, because I think they're all in, they're betting on that RDNA 2 technology.
Sure, okay.
That is unique now to, I mean, they've got that special relationship with AMD. I think Phil Spencer, it's announced, is going to be doing an interview with AMD in the next week, the next 2 weeks, talking about more things. So I think long term, they're saying this RDNA 2 technology is the future, and they waited to make sure that they had that technology, which pushed everything back, it looks like.
Well, and it's interesting because we have data points showing that it is a software thing that is on the developer side. The data point I'm speaking of is I got a patch with Assassin's Creed and it's now fixed.
Yeah, it's kind of was kind of a rushed fix. A lot of people are saying, because what they did was during scenes where there was drop in frame rate, they temporarily lower the resolution to 1440 during that frame to fix it. So it's not like they went in and
they're
fixed
not the only
architecture,
game that does that, right? So
sure.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean it makes sense, and this is always going to be happening on every release. I think in this case, Sony did it better. But we don't see optimization with new hardware until a year or two later, right?
Well, yeah. And Sony has the advantage of in-house studios, like Spider-Man Miles Morales that dropped and looks absolutely beautiful.
Well, and then
they can fully take advantage.
And
of
then, like
software.
you said, it sounds like they've been more open with their their developer tools and stuff like that, which it sounds like Microsoft is getting to, right?
Well, let's hope they are, because I mean,
no, I hope so as well.
This can't be. I mean, it's clearly not. The worry was that this. Oh no, here we go. This is the Xbox One generation, where the first couple years every game was lower resolution, lower frame rates than the PS5. That's not the case at all here. Yeah. It's by every fair analysis, including Digital Foundry.
And they're always fair, and that's why I like them.
Yeah, Digital Foundry.
They are, yeah.
I mean, they've become the authority on this stuff. They do say it looks like it's a developer thing, but I mean that is my and Phil Spencer says that is where we messed up.
That being said, I mean, it's a developer side issue, but if Microsoft's not, I mean, it's kind of a balance, right?
Sure.
You got the
you
the
want
Xbox
that-
team has to give them give them proper tools, but show them how to use it, optimize it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You remember it's kind of similar. You remember the PS3? The PS3 first Xbox 360. Remember, developers had a really hard time developing on that. What was it? Cell architecture that they were using.
I don't remember the
towards
name
the
of it, but yeah.
beginning. It was really hard to develop for. So a lot of third party games, it wasn't the lead platform to develop for, right?
Sure.
But then towards the end, you're getting games like Uncharted 3, Last of Us. I mean, that
Yeah.
are really because they've just learned how to use the system, right? So I think it's something similar here. But I don't know. I think it's a balance, right? Microsoft working with the developers to let them know how to optimize, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, giving them the proper tools, right?
Regardless, it's glad to see that the big games are patching it. Dirt,
Yeah.
the developers of Dirt 5, because that was one of the games where there was an issue, came out and said, look, we've dove in now, we understand these tools, and this is definitely not going to be an issue.
Well, I kind of like, actually, things, I mean, it kind of sucks initially for these boxes to go through these, like this new hardware, right?
Sure.
But I think it's actually beneficial to consumers to have these issues arrive because it makes them not happen later as bad. If it sounds really weird, and especially since there's such a hardline competition between consoles. They're cutthroat. They want to win the console war. You're talking about a lot of money. I think. Look at Xbox's reaction to this. They're very open about it. What happened was we kind of just we're trying to rush this thing out, and this is the case. We're fixing this. We're doing this right. Game developers are getting their, they're getting their fix on. If you know what I'm saying. I think ultimately things like this, it may sound bad at first, but it's actually good for consumers because of the competition that exists. Right? It's a weird way to say that, but. If that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the future. And as developers learn more, will they catch up? Will it always be the case that PlayStation? I don't think it will be. But regardless, that's what happened this week, and that's how it breaks down.
It's interesting because I look back at hardware, and I'm thinking of I call it the golden era of Apple.
Sure.
Like the 2011, 2012, when their hardware was far, far worse than Microsoft's, but their software was far, far better than Windows.
Well, and not only that, if you remember, they really forced laptops before Apple, by everybody, Dell, they were always plastic. Yeah. And they forced everybody to go with that premium feel.
Yeah, and software just ran better on worse hardware.
Yeah,
right? It's Microsoft, so it's kind of the same kind of boat. But that's what I chose to do all my content creation on was at the time Apple, because it just ran better, and it was odd because it was on crappier hardware. Well, things get figured out, things get tweaked, things get optimized, and then it becomes a horsepower issue again, and that's. One of the reasons I have Windows is because they have just balls. That computer right there just has balls swinging underneath it.
To the wall.
Yeah, this is a powerful guy, right? So it's fascinating.
Last thing I want to talk about just before we get into what Jordan has for us is the new Xbox update that dropped this week. The dashboard update, UI update. There's some new things here. Xbox Series X and S owners get more dynamic background options and an auto HDR indicator in the guide. You also get optimized for XS badges that make it easier to know which games are ready for the Xbox Series X and X.
Didn't they already have that, though?
Yeah, but now I think it's just standard for everything.
Now it's there forever.
Yeah.
Now
Xbox Game Pass members can also
official.
browse and preload games with a new coming soon section, as well as new dynamic backgrounds and the new game activity tab. That's there.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's the biggest one. But I really like the new. Has anybody changed their dynamic backgrounds besides myself?
I did, yes.
I went to the pond, the ripples.
Yeah, I did the last one, which I believe
that's
was...
the ripples. That's mine. That's the last one.
Oh, yeah.
Ripples.
The
The second one was the ribbons, like the 360 ribbons.
Yeah, this is the best one.
Yeah, the ripples are
And
cool.
Really
can we
good.
mention, is this the update? I'm not sure if this was the update, but is this the update that moved the notifications to the bottom?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
That actually fixed a lot of issues that I had.
Oh,
Yes.
I would get party invites that would disappear, and Mark
Correct.
had that too.
And now they're in your notification
So
section
now they're always
on
there,
the bottom left.
and they're not disappearing anymore. So they fixed that bug, but now it's I like the placement of where it's at.
And now when I go into, it's all in the same place. It's way better now.
Yeah, so if you've not yet received
Way
the
better.
update, you can go into your settings. You can go to update or check latest update, and it should be there. And then you can force your Xbox
Should be.
to update. So it's good. Updates are always a good thing. So there you go, Jordan.
Yes.
That brings us to your segment of the show,
Ah.
the news segment. Tell us what else is happening in the world
So-
that is Xbox One this week.
Cyberpunk 2077 is probably the biggest thing, so we're going to start with it. A lot of
Oh,
stuff going on with
dirty.
Cyberpunk. I believe it was Best Buy decided, who cares if it's December 10th, just send them out. So they sent them out. There was one
This
guy.
is another Nintendo 64 debacle.
That is hilarious.
There's one guy who got his collector's edition on his doorstep, and in big red tape it said "Do not deliver before December 10th." And he picked it up and walked inside.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
That's funny.
So that's pretty funny. So people are playing the game. Just fair warning, CD Projekt Red has come out and said, please do not post the game. If you do, they actually said they'll send what is it, MacTac after you? Which
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Or, I forget what it was, but
No,
it's
Jason Bourne.
yeah, it was. I forget what it's called, but it's basically a police agency in the game, right?
Oh.
They said they'd
Oh,
say-
hey, how
it was
cool
like
is
it
that?
was a little. It was
Hilarious.
like a joke.
That is
right?
very CD
But they-
Projekt
that
Red.
is
But they
hilarious.
they will do the, what are they called, DMCA takedowns and stuff like that,
Sure.
because, which I think is fair. A lot
Yeah,
of people
no, you
are like,
absolutely
no, I think it's fair, right? You know, it's if
Well-
the games that you're technically not supposed to have the game, and these aren't like. Let's be clear. These are not review copies. These are like regular Joes getting their special editions, getting their boxes of it, playing it, and this and that. So a lot of people have played it, and they've not given spoilers. They said the game is very good.
Oh, okay.
This part I actually don't think is
Live up to expectations.
Yeah, they did say it'll live up to expectations.
Okay.
They this part I don't think is very fair. They did say it's buggy.
Okay, well, there's a day one patch.
Yeah.
I
And
doubt they have the day one patch.
What's
right?
funny is there was one guy on Twitter who said it was buggy, but when everything lines up, like basically he said there's a lot of parts that are buggy, but when the game works as intended, he says it's one of the best things he's ever played, right? But he did say shortly after he made that post, he actually did get an update.
Oh,
So I think
They're
CD.
like,
I
hey,
think.
whose
Well, I think
Twitter
CD
is that?
Projekt Red was basically like,
Can we-
look,
can
we're
we
not
look
going
up-
to stop it. They're going to play it. Just push the
Just
update
push
now,
the update.
right?
Yeah, you might as well.
So I think they're pushing the update. The only thing is, I don't think it's fair to criticize the bugs because it's like watching an unedited movie and complaining that the special effects are bad. You know what I mean? Like
It's like your friend's copy of like Transformers that has the
Yeah,
the Korean subtitles underneath.
Well,
You can't complain.
well, that's filmed.
yeah, that's filmed with a camcorder.
how I look at it is CD Projekt Red has promised a full game experience on December 10th, and that's when we can start our criticisms, right? Because like I said, these aren't review copies or anything like that. These are just regular. Now, people aren't complaining heavily because they did get the day one patch. They just kind of mentioned there was bugs and stuff like that. But sounds like the day one patch is around 40-ish gigs.
Whoa.
Which 40, I think it was. I forget the exact number. I think it was 45 cents. I don't know.
Now that's a bug fixer.
Let's just say around 40-ish.
Holy crap!
I think the
They had to did they add a new level.
I also believe the base game was 50 gigs, so we're probably looking at a 90 gig
90-ish
game.
game.
Which actually I also learned today, and I didn't know this. When you do a 40 gig download or whatever, some of that's it's not necessarily 40 gigs. I guess some of the files in there are just reaffirming older files, so they're just kind of updating.
Sure.
So it could be, it could kind of, basically you're probably looking at around 80 to 90 gigs, right? Day one.
Yeah.
Right. But now people that did talk about the bugs after they got the day one patch, they said most of the issues they were having were resolved.
Oh, that's good.
So which is really good for us,
Which
right?
tells you, I mean, that's
Why it was
definitely
delayed.
why it was delayed,
Yeah.
right? In order to,
Which
to
I
make
just
those
thought it
fixes.
was funny that there was. I mean, most people were good because it was like, there's bugs, but day one, right? Some people were like, this game is so buggy, and that's when I was like, well, that's seriously like watching a movie
before it's
in
edited.
development. Like you said, the bootleg movie. It's like, well, they promised the game on the 10th, so at that point you can complain all you want, right?
Yeah, you're walking down
You be grateful you got the game. I did it digitally.
Hey, you shut your mouth.
Yeah.
You're walking down Manhattan and there's a guy with like, you want these videos? That's what you're buying. You're not buying the real one.
Yeah, right.
It's like complaining about a free dinner. That's what it is. Right? A free meal. at a
I just
restaurant.
thought that was funny. But what I do think is actually cool is CD Projekt Red. They just said, look, don't stream it. because it's not ready.
I
you know,
love
but they did say that they would send them. I think it's called Max Tac.
That is so awesome. That is one of the reasons I love CD Projekt Red. Do you remember in Witcher 3 when you would like farm the cows?
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah,
you
it was
would
a
farm
bug.
the cows in the game, and you could just like.
Or it
keep
wasn't
getting
a
them-
bug. It was an exploit.
It was an exploit. You're just getting more meat or whatever as the cows
leather,
gave. If you do that too much, they created a monster. It's like the cow god.
It was a patch.
It was a patch. They created the cow god, and he would come and destroy you.
And I'm pretty positive he's unbeatable. I've tried a couple times.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
So they were like, okay, well, they're exploiting this. How do we beat it?
That
send
is
in the
so,
cow
to
god.
have to if you were to show this early, to have the cops come in your game and arrest you is very CD Projekt Red, and I love that that's what
that
they're
is really
well,
funny.
they put in parentheses the guys that will take down your videos, but they did say that they will take them down, right? Which I think is fair, right? The game, it's coming out on, and that's also another reason why I think the game is pretty much here, because Best Buy decided just to
I just
send
don't
it
care.
out. Yeah,
You know what?
So I know Best Buy was one of them. I don't know who the others were, but
Do you think like Joseph from like the IT or the content department in Best Buy is really in trouble right now for sending that?
Someone's in
allowing that
trouble.
to come
I
out?
don't know. The thing is that I think.
There's so many moving parts.
We'll have to see, because CD Projekt Red hasn't really said that they're going after people. Like
Well,
Nintendo
'cause,
goes
like-
after them. You know what I mean? Like they
Was it
don't
just-
care.
Was it
Nintendo
just
and
one
Disney.
person, or was it like Best Buy going, like in a board meeting going, meh?
I don't know.
Like what? Like
But,
because in the Nintendo 64 days, it was probably one employee at like Kmart that's let it go, and then somebody heard about it, and then
They
it was
let it
just
go,
a
yeah.
trickle effect. This sounds like multiple people got sent.
They got together like, we've been waiting long enough. Just send it.
Multiple people got sent this, so this had to have been like
It's just like the truck driver is like, this has been sitting in my truck. Come on, man.
yeah,
Yeah, just send it.
just
Get it out of here.
Yeah.
No, but so be aware. Everybody's talking about how there's going to be a lot of bans on Twitch and stuff this week because everybody's going to try and stream it early.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's really cool, though, is depending on where you live in the world, we're actually going to get the game early. So if you live in the United States, we are actually going to get the game on December 9th instead of the 10th.
Why is that?
Because CD Projekt said that's how it's going
Because
to be.
we're World War back-to-back champions.
yeah,
World
yeah,
War
that's
War
right, yeah.
back-to-back
Back-to-back
champions.
World War champions.
That's why.
That's what we get.
That's what we. It all comes down to this moment.
Back-to-back World War champions.
So
That's hilarious.
in Eastern time.
The only wars that count, the world ones.
That's correct. That's
So-
why we get it a day early.
December 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern time is when it'll launch, which is 4 p.m. Pacific time. Getting to the other half of the world across the pond, in London, that's where it starts to hit the 10th. That's 12 a.m. Over in Australia, they're getting it at 11 a.m. on the 10th AEDT.
I don't know what
Yeah, I don't know what that is. But maybe our Australians
We
can
don't
let
care.
us know.
As long as we get it on the 9th, right?
But very cool. So we are getting it the day before. For us, that is actually 5 p.m.
There you go.
So
Boom.
where we're at in the United States, we're in that time zone where we get it at 5 p.m. On December 9th, which is very exciting. One more thing that I want to talk about, which I actually think is very interesting because
In reference to Cyberpunk?
yeah.
Should we pull up Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little late now. We've been talking about it for
That's right,
20
that's right.
minutes.
Oh,
And I got to be careful with that footage because
there's you go.
there is some questionable
Like,
footage.
if
That's
you
definitely an
want-
adult game.
if you want me to like not focus on the conversation and continuously like
Well,
censor
I did also
footage.
find out today that on a certain customization part, there is a slider to lengthen and shorten it.
yes,
I will let you all think what. And I think there's like. I'm just gonna say this. Plug your kids' ears. I think there's 3 different types of nipples you can have too. Like the customization is insane.
I didn't know there was different nipples.
Hey, it's. I think because I'm hearing all this stuff is coming out, so you're seeing all these customization stuff that people are doing, and so
That's hilarious.
a lot of good stuff. But what's really interesting
I'm going
is
for the pepperoni.
what's really interesting. Well, just the customization is gonna be. It's gonna be.
Are you going for the silver dollars?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm going for. But anyway, customization is going to be crazy. What's interesting is, and this has been talked about over the past couple months, but we've never talked about it. So the campaign in Cyberpunk 2077 is actually going to be shorter than The Witcher.
Okay.
Which, I mean, no one really knows, but roughly kind of what people are saying is, and this is kind of anywhere between, I would say, probably
300 hours to 80 hours.
No,
Depending on how you play the
If you
game.
just did the main campaign, from what I've seen people kind of estimating, right? It seems like the main campaign, if you just did the main campaign, anywhere between 25 to 40 hours, right?
Sure.
Which is still quite a campaign. But the reason it's shorter than The Witcher is, and this is actually really cool, CD Projekt Red has statistics on how many people have beaten their game. And basically, The Witcher,
are so good.
well, The Witcher was incredible. Like, this main campaign was really long, and they saw that people basically fell off the main campaign, right? And they want people to finish their game, so they purposely made this one a little bit shorter, right? Which I think is really cool. But don't be worried, because I mean, even if you speed run through it and it takes you 25 hours, I mean, 25 hours is still a long time, right?
Yeah,
And you have all the
yeah.
side quests. Plus, CD Projekt Red, in my opinion, does the best with DLC, which are actually real expansion packs. Not DLC, they're real expansion packs. And then we have a multiplayer component coming as well, which we've all heard about. I'm
Is
kind
it going to be standalone?
well, I
You know, Red Dead just dropped their standalone multiplayer this week,
for $4.99.
which has me wondering, are they going to improve that as a is this like a sign like, hey, we're getting serious, let's make it standalone,
yeah, I
get
don't
more
know.
people into the game and go for it?
I don't know if it's going to be standalone. I actually don't know if it'll ever come out. I think they're going to work on it for like 2 years and be like, it's not working. Sorry, guys. Because I don't know. I feel like their focus is the game, and then whatever
As it should be.
whatever future DLC. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll see. But I'm not buying CD Projekt Red to get excited to play the future multiplayer. Right?
Sure, yeah, no,
I'm buying Cyberpunk to
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm really excited that the time has finally come. Like next podcast, we will have played Cyberpunk.
Oh, that is crazy.
Some of us
to
will
me.
have used that slider. Some of us will have not.
That is crazy.
So,
I won't use the slider.
I'll see where it defaults.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll just take a quick look first and see what happens. I think I'll probably spend a lot of time on that. You know,
No,
it's got to be right.
I heard that today and I laughed when they said, "And you have different types of nipples." I was like, wow. Can you imagine the customization team? They had fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sitting in that office was probably like 4 guys and an artist, a programmer. Like they had a good
Hey,
time.
honey, I gotta work late. I got too much to do. And he's totally like perfect.
Rainbow Six has a big update.
Yes, so on the Xbox Series X and S, we're now hitting 120 frames.
Oh,
Free update.
and in that
so
game.
on the Xbox Series X, we're going to have dynamic 4K resolution at 120 frames. On the Series S, it'll target 120 frames as well, just at 1080p. So we're still getting that high frame rate on both consoles, but obviously on the Series X, you're getting that dynamic 4K. Now, that is dynamic 4K, so if it needs to, its priority is the frame rate. If it needs to, it'll drop the resolution down to keep that frame rate solid. Time will tell with people testing how bad it happens, but very exciting. Game's coming out with 120 frames.
So sexy.
Very cool. Phantasy Star Online.
Ooh.
This is a fun game. It's coming out with a new update, which is really cool. Episode 6 is what it is. It'll include the Phantom and Itoli classes. It'll also raise the level cap to 95, and all of this content releases on December 9th for free,
There you go.
which is very cool. And then we have Destiny 2 Trials
Destiny
of
2.
Osiris. Trials of Osiris has been gone, I think, about a month or so? It's been gone a while. But it's finally coming back, and it's going to come back on December 18th to all players of Destiny 2, which is really cool. And then we talked about this game earlier, but Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, let's bring that up because I want to talk. I want to talk about that in depth a little bit more because I
It's now
have been.
available.
I have been going back and forth on this game all day and almost hitting the. And the only reason that I wouldn't buy it has nothing to do with the game. The only reason that I'm hesitant is because Cyberpunk is next week. There's games right now that I'm playing. Is it enough time to play it? But overall, I mean, reviews of this game. This is the Ubisoft game that they showed off at E3,
Yeah.
where they just showed a little segment that we all got excited
It used to
for.
be called Gods and Monsters.
Gods
back
and
then.
Monsters, yes, that's what it was called back then. This is it looks really, really good, and everybody's saying it's super, super fun. Spicy, do you think
Yes.
after like a Cyberpunk and stuff that you would? It's so hard if you're an Ubisoft and you want to get this game out. You're kind of it's a catch-22, right? Like
I got no time for this game. I
Yeah.
want to play it. I will play it eventually. That's the hope. But there's no. I have Valhalla. I have Vigor on my plate, and I have Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Right? So I just
don't know when I will have time to play this game.
It looks cool.
It looks really
so
good. That's absolutely sad that I won't be able to.
I feel
play
like
it
this
initially.
game will be a good palate cleanser from the serious dark tones
Sure.
that it would be a Cyberpunk.
It's
right?
a lighthearted,
fun
funny
Breath of the Wild vibe with it.
platform puzzler with Greek mythology. It looks like a really fun game.
Jordan,
Yeah.
how about you? Will you jump in and pound this? Because you're a pounder. He's a
I
pounder.
don't know.
If we were all classes, Jordan would be the pounder. He's the pounder class.
Yeah.
Spicy's the completionist class.
Sure, I dive in hard.
And I'm the, I don't know what, I'm
play
the,
bigger.
I'm the meh class.
DPS.
DPS. You're in and you're out.
Jordan, no, but what are your plans with this game? Because it's
I
getting
don't
great
know.
reviews. What I love about this game is the way the world looks. Like it's this
Oh,
open
yeah,
world,
I mean,
beautiful game.
There's something about that art style that I just like.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know. This is a tough one because it looks fun. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I hear it's very. It's a good nod to Zelda type games,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And, I mean, I've heard a lot of fun things. The problem is on Game Pass, which is the next
That's
news
right.
story. They just released Dragon Quest XI, which is another fantastic game that I'm not going to be able to finish before Cyberpunk. But it's like, what do I play until then?
Yeah.
Do I play Mortal Phoenix Rising for a week and then put it on the back burner, or do I play Dragon Quest and then put that on the back burner? I don't know.
I
don't
want.
know,
I
right?
do want to shout out everybody in chat. There was a couple people in chat during the pre-show talking that they've jumped into Immortal Phoenix Rising, and the census in the community as well as out there in the internet is that Immortals Phoenix Rising is very good. Everybody's having a blast with it so far. So go check it out. It is not on Game Pass. It is $50, $59,
$60 game.
Yeah, price.
I
of
thought it was $49.
No, it's $59.99.
price of
$59.99.
price of a regular game. It looks good. Everybody's having a blast with it. But there you go. Immortals Phoenix Rising. Timing's so important. Also with a game like this, especially with Genshin Impact, right? It also kind of has that Genshin Impact vibe, right?
yeah.
World vibe. I feel like I would have a lot of fun. Like right there. Imagine if we all could fly together, and then the three of us fighting Medusa. Right? Like that. This game
That
to
is
me
a bro moment. for
would
sure.
be so fun
this game-
multiplayer.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
single
was just
player.
about to say, I was like, wait, what is this co-op? Did I miss something?
No, it would be
Yeah.
so fun, right? Like, I hope maybe they bring that into this game or a game like this at some
You
point.
mean
I would,
Genshin Impact? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
I get an Impact
but a
mode,
game
yeah.
that doesn't break my computer. Ever since I installed Genshin Impact, I immediately uninstalled it, and my computer has just chugged.
I've been getting lots of calls about my social security being stolen.
I've been
Ever
getting
since
calls
I-
about my car needing a warranty
Yeah.
from a robot.
I blame Genshin Impact.
Yeah, it's probably Genshin Impact.
I could blame Genshin Impact for that.
The China.
Anyways, Immortals Phoenix Rising. Jordan, you talked about Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Dragon Quest is now available on Game Pass. See, so that's the other thing. It's on Game Pass. I already have Game Pass. I don't have to spend $60. Maybe I wait till this one goes on sale.
Another
Anyway.
one. Control.
Control's on Game Pass
Just
too
dropped,
now. That's
yeah.
from Remedy, right?
Yeah.
And I did not know this, but I've heard through the grapevine that Control shares the same universe as Alan Wake, and there is a lot of nods to Alan Wake in that game. So that makes me very excited.
Well, isn't Alan Wake in our universe? So technically,
I don't know.
He's not in my universe. He's in your universe.
wouldn't you want him in your universe? He's
Not
a great
really,
writer.
Like dark.
He really is, yeah.
Light and dark creepiness happens around him.
yeah, but it's like on the West
Yeah,
Coast.
but who doesn't that happen
Isn't that
to?
like out in Seattle or something where
Oregon
that
or
takes
somewhere
place?
like
yeah,
that.
it's
Why
out
It
in
was
Oregon.
Oregon, yeah. It isn't a river. It's a lake.
Yeah,
I
I
remember
mean
that,
that's
yeah.
fine. Yeah, I'll visit there. Maybe have creepy dreams.
And lights and stuff. Shadow people.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, Dragon Quest 11. So this game's actually been out for a while. We actually played this game at E3 2 years ago
Yeah.
when it was before it released. It's now available on the Xbox, which is great. It's on the Series X. Dragon Quest is a very fun game.
Game Pass. Dude, Game Pass
Yeah.
is so solid. Looks good. Another game. Can we bring this one up too? Because
Yeah,
I want to talk about this.
This is a big one.
This one, again, timing. What am I supposed to do? Empire of Sin is out. This is the real-time strategy mobster game. Is it real-time strategy or turn-based strategy?
It's XCOM. So
It's
turn-based.
XCOM, yeah. I thought I don't know why I said real-time. sorry.
I'm
But
already
in New York,
We
like
saw this
mobsters.
again. We
Yeah.
saw this about a year ago, and it looks good. This is another one that I really want to play. It's out now. You're a mob boss. You're doing mob things. It's Prohibition. It takes place during Prohibition. As you can see, there's buckets of alcohol everywhere.
As those listening can see.
Yes, as those listening see in your mind's eye.
In your mind's eye. But no, Empire of Sin now available. It came out on December 1st, which was just this week. See, this is another game. Do I get this game and do I play this for a week?
Yeah, it is.
Now
this game is only $39.99 for anybody.
What do you do?
But if you're into turn-based strategy or strategy types of games, this looks to be.
If you're into that XCOM feel,
yeah,
that's your fetish.
In a mobster prohibition world, look at these. That's Dick Tracy. You're freaking Dick Tracy taking down
Tracy.
people. Dick Tracy.
That's what his close friends called him.
That's what his close friends call him. Only his friends call him that.
Yeah.
No, but it's the style of the game. Obviously, I mean, what is it? The 40s.
No,
yeah,
20s.
when it's 20s,
Prohibition 20s, right?
yeah.
I mean, the style of the game, the fact that you're a mobster, and then of course the gameplay. I mean, it's XCOM, Gears Tactics, right?
Yeah. So Fitzy says this or Gears Tactics. It's going to be interesting to see.
That's a good one.
I think this is kind of going in a different direction. I think this one. There's like some unique game mechanics here and stuff that work out for it. But I would say it depends what you really want, right? If you're a big fan of Gears Tactics is probably the one for you.
But I mean, Gears Tactics did do a lot of unique things that I liked, right? So it'll be interesting to see what this game does and how they do it. But
yeah, regardless, it is out now. Check it out. Someone DM me in Discord this week if you've played it. Let me know if you like it. It's right up my alley.
And I think this is where Game Pass is so powerful: is you have this game or Gears Tactics, and Gears Tactics is on Game Pass, so it's already available to you, right? Saving the money. I'm telling you, Game Pass is powerful. David mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Red Dead Online is now a standalone and is available now for a whopping $4.99 plus another $1 billion to get everything to play the game. Right?
Yeah, let's pull that one up because I want to talk about what does this mean. The fact that they went standalone. So here's the thing. It's $5 to get it standalone.
$4.99.
$4.99. Sorry,
plus tax, depending on your area.
So like $5.
For us, it's like
$6 if you're in California or New York, and $5 everywhere else. It's
I'll get into that.
Are they getting serious about it with this, or is this another? So for instance, my idea here is when I first saw this, I thought, oh, they're getting serious about this. This is going to be now that Red Dead Redemption has run its course.
It's both sides. It's either they're getting serious or completely giving up.
Yeah, right. This is either like a last gasp money grab. Or this is let's fill the servers with new players who didn't buy the $50 game. They want to do Red Dead Online. And we're going to, now let's make it what it was always supposed to be. Or at least the problem is Grand Theft Auto Online. It's making so much money. And everybody thought this would be that just in Western cowboys. And it never lived up to that. It still hasn't.
I mean, I feel like it's limited by its atmosphere of the game
Sure.
itself, not necessarily anything that they could do.
But they can take it tongue in cheek. I mean, this is online. You don't have to remain
the
serious.
first Red Dead
That's
did.
true. But you don't have, you don't have the Back to the Future car. You don't have.
That could be a DLC.
Wait, it could. Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Oh
You can do
my
the train.
God.
You can do the train.
Here, I'll keep it. I'll keep it grounded in reality for you.
Totally forgot about Back to the Future 3.
It can't actually fly, but it is your stagecoach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like in the
Or
movie,
maybe
where
there's
the
a
horses
mission.
pulled it, so it's your stagecoach.
You're right. Okay,
yeah.
I take it back. Cowboys and Aliens was a movie once. You could bring aliens.
You could, and actually, they have it in the single
Or
player.
my thing is this. My thing is this. In the online, there's no seasonal event. So it was Christmas last year, and what did they do? They brought snow. Whoa. And it wasn't even thick snow. It was just normal.
Yeah, there's snow in January. That's not the Christmas
It
season.
wasn't even sticking to the ground.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
And the January snow legitimately sucks.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
be honest.
yeah.
That's not the good snow.
That's
But
I call it the asphalt snow.
Yeah, why
'cause
not
it's all
see Psychotic
black,
Psychotic in chat says why not bring in Santa's sleigh as a skin that you can get, or you can turn
Or
your
your
wagon
carriage,
into,
yeah.
or your horse you can do reindeer now, pulling it, or just
Yeah,
something that
little
you can
animal.
earn, or game modes, and that's what Grand Theft Auto Online does really well.
You know what?
You could do this in Red Dead Redemption, and it does not take away from the campaign story that is Red Dead Redemption.
If they do that, though, they're going to have you buy the mode to get it,
Yeah.
and then they're going to have you buy
Well, that's the other
sleigh,
problem.
and then they're going to have you buy the battle pass
Now
to get all that.
Someone can tell me if Grand Theft Auto Online nickel and dimes you. To my knowledge, they don't. But I do feel like
Well-
how many times have I used that term? But I've used it a lot with this game. I really feel like they nickel and dime you with their content in the online.
Even if the numbers show that it's not, you feel nickel and dimed, and that's everything.
Well, perception is reality, right?
Well,
If you
because
think
look, I spend $4.99 to get. Let's say I'm new. I spend $4.99 to get this game. Okay, got it. I jump in. I spend $20 on the battle pass. All right, I'm ready for the battle pass. And then I go to do all this stuff. I was like, okay, now I got to spend another $10 on the. I wanted to be the botanist.
I mean,
or whatever
you do technically.
I want to do bounty hunts. So there's
you do
another
technically
$10,
get enough
you know what I
gold
mean?
bars in the battle pass to get it, but it just seems like there's
okay,
another barrier.
okay,
They put
hold
another
on,
barrier.
hold on. Technically, in Hearthstone's battle pass, you get a lot of gold too. But is it like physically
oh my gosh, you brought up that can of worms.
Is it physically impossible to actually, unless you spend 23 out of the 24 hours of the day to, you know what I mean?
So technically, Jordan, you don't. You get 5 if you max out both the old way and the new way in Hearthstone. You still get 5,000 gold less.
But can't you keep getting gold if you level up? And that's how you can get unlimited gold, quote unquote. But
But
they
there's
don't
not
tell
enough
you.
hours in the day.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like that's.
Well, but
that's
here's the
thing.
thing: other battle passes, you earn enough. You earn enough gold if you max out the battle pass to buy the next season's battle pass, right?
Yeah, usually.
So in this, what they're doing is you earn enough gold to get whatever new job class that you want to
That you want to play today.
that you want to play today, forcing you next season to buy the next battle pass with more cash. It really is this. It just doesn't feel right. They don't have it figured out correctly, and even if they didn't add the content that was there, but they let you do all the classes without having this paywall up, it would be substantially better. Now, if you do pay the $5.99 or the $4.99 to get into this game, all of that still exists and all that still rings true. It's not like you get it and it opens up all the classes to you. You do not have to pay the $4.99 if you already own Red Dead Redemption 2, the full copy. This was kind of just an option to just buy standalone for those that just want to play online. The comments on YouTube that I've seen on this are hilarious. Like the number one comment on the reveal trailer of this announcement standalone was imagine being the guy that pays $5 for the lesser crappy part of a game, right? Like something to that extent. It was really well worded, but that does show you kind of the perception and now. And I put a ton of hours into Red Dead Online.
Oh yeah,
I have a blast. I think it's a lot of fun.
no, it is, especially when you play with friends.
But it just never developed into what I pictured it
Wanted
being.
to
It never
be.
developed into a Grand Theft Auto. It never developed into this place where, like, what was so cool about Grand Theft Auto is, Mark, come on over to my apartment. Okay, I'm coming on over. Let's go rob a bank now. And you had like this property ownership. You had this world that you could affect and be in, and then you just had these fun game modes that you could play. Red Dead has never lived up to that. I hope this signifies Rockstar saying, okay, we've underutilized this second profit that we could be making, another, Grand Theft Auto Online version 2. Let's buckle down and do it for real. Hopefully, but maybe not. Like Mark said, it might also be just the last gasp of the dead guy trying to grab your money.
You want to know? We're having this huge, discussion about what it means, and it's probably just a tax write-off. It's probably just a ledger thing for the accountants to like
the end of the year,
And
like
what's
something.
just so they can, split things up so it's cleaner for their books.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is like I don't mind supporting the developer like by buying a battle pass. I buy battle passes all the time,
agree,
right?
yeah.
And I'm more than happy to support Rockstar because this all being said, I still think they're one of the best developers out there. But it just feels like there's not enough in the base online version without spending money on different packs like the what is it, the Hunter, the Bounty Hunter, the Moonshiner, isn't there the Collector Lady now too?
Now
right?
there's a Naturist
Nature,
now.
yeah. So, and those are all individual purchases, right? That's what is frustrating. You know what I mean?
The bounty hunters the bounty hunting is really fun in this game. In this game mode,
and it's probably worth the $10, but you charged me
But
$50
you
other dollars
feel
to get all the other guys.
But you
know
feel
what I mean?
screwed, and no one likes to feel screwed without getting a kiss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Basically, right? So
What I think they should do, and how much is the battle pass? $20.
I don't know if they've changed it, but I think it was.
Let's say the battle pass is $20.
Yeah.
Let's say every season they come out with a new person, right? And let's say they even raise the price of the battle pass to $25. I'd rather pay $25 for a battle pass per season and have that new person like the bounty hunter included rather than buying them both separate every single time.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Just
like you
make
said,
it-
it's perception. I feel better doing that, even though maybe it equals out to be the same.
Yeah.
Probably not, but
Well,
I don't
here's
know.
here's
It's
what you
just-
could do though, right? Like if you just put, I mean, I know we're talking as if like, oh, this was easy. You could just do it. And I'm not saying that it's easy.
I'm saying
Make
it's easy.
December snow, not January snow.
Yeah. No. But like for instance, if you wanted to keep with the Red Dead Redemption thing, I mean, look at what they did with the zombie pack.
With Red Dead Run?
With Red Dead 1.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
great
It was
expansion
comedy.
pack, yeah.
You could do that with this. You could have a limited Christmas event where Santa Claus flies over and you see him and you got to hunt him down and he ends up being this drunk pervert that you've got to kill or something, right?
And he duels you.
And he duels you. You know what I mean? That's Rockstar. And that type of stuff is in Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. You could easily bring that type of thing to Red Dead Redemption Online. And it
honestly fits
they
in the
haven't.
online world.
They've brought in hunting, go hunt, skin, cash. They've brought in go hunt this bounty hunter, cash. Go collect these valuables, bring them back for cash. It's all fetch quests.
Even with hunting, like let's say you have the hunting profession, do limited time events on special hunts, like in
special
in the
crazy
first
hardcore
in the
hunts.
first game. You can do the chupacabra, right? That was in the first game, or you can even do. There's a nod to this in the campaign. Sasquatch, you go and hunt Sasquatch for 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Or even
do
go
events.
as far as making Man Bear Pig.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, do
Which,
something.
by the way, is legitimately in the game. I have a screenshot of him. You remember I showed you?
there is a Man
He
Bear
is
Pig.
in the game.
Man Bear Pig is in the game.
They bring it to online.
Yes.
But anyway, if you want just the standalone version, which honestly, I would recommend buying the full game because the campaign is fantastic. It truly
you're
is.
getting like a fifth of what this game is about with the online version.
Yeah, I agree.
And you don't need friends. You will make friends in Red Dead Redemption world.
Yeah, you have a camp where you
have
make
a
lot of
camp,
friends.
and there's a lot of friends. Some of them.
So no, I personally, if you're gonna buy just if you really just want the online portion, go ahead. It's only $5, right? But if you really want to jump into the Red Dead experience, I was just buying the full game.
Yeah, same.
'Cause
And you get online as well.
And online's included, right? In addition to the single player, because the single player is well worth it. But anyway, jumping to our next news story, Call of Duty.
the call.
So
You beat Black Ops,
Sorry.
right? Cold War. Did you beat it?
yeah, last night.
Oh, how was it? Fully beated.
How was cleaning the streets up with Robert Redford?
Yeah.
It was good.
And you came to Salt Lake, I hear.
Well, no, they mentioned Salt Lake. They're
Oh.
like, he's in Salt Lake, and I thought to myself, oh, we're going to Salt Lake. I've
fake
been there.
the fake Salt Lake or the real Salt Lake?
I'm gonna see if it's like really Salt Lake, if they took their time to research it, or if they just Last of Us it.
Time to
and
research.
just-
All you have to do is Google Maps. And like, there's a landmark. There's
'Cause
mountains on the
in-
right. There's a lake on the left. Done.
In the first Last of Us, which by the way, disclaimer, I think it's in my top 5 of games.
It's a great game.
Very good game. But there's a part where you go to Salt Lake, and I've been to Salt Lake is like 30 minutes from where we're at right now, right? It's our city. So we went there, and it was not Salt Lake. It was like I think they just like, oh, we need somewhere to go to. Oh, Salt Lake's on the map. Just put that in the game.
Well, there's things like we don't
subway?
have an underground subway.
Yeah.
Because you can't have one here. There's a reason it doesn't exist because the lake used to be where the city is. You know,
And then there was
like-
just I think did they even have like landmarks?
Let's be real.
It
That's
was,
probably
it was just funny. It was just
that's-
they just
that's
needed a place to go.
probably the case with every game. Developers are like, let's just put salt. Let's just put
What's
Boston.
Yeah, like for New York, they just have
We used that in the first
the
one.
Eiffel,
Oh, okay,
or not the
Salt
Eiffel
Lake.
Tower. For
The
Paris,
Avengers
it's the
Tower.
Yeah, for Paris, it's just the Eiffel Tower. Nothing else is accurate. But we don't know because we're not
Yeah, see,
native
we're not
to
from
that.
there. But that's where actually games like The Division get really good praise because I hear like the street like New York was actually very well done.
Well, even like Assassin's Creed, they always do like very detailed
Yeah.
on.
and we weren't even alive back then. So
I
I mean
know.
technically
If they're able to go back in time and accurately recreate cities, then other
the
games
Last
can
of Us,
recreate
you know.
modern cities.
No, it was just some scientist was in Salt Lake City and he just showed up in the next mission. So I was like, oh, hey.
I know that guy.
Yeah, so no, it was a pretty good campaign. I will say after playing both this campaign and Modern Warfare's campaign, I do still lean towards Modern Warfare, campaign included, for my game. But that being said, Call of Duty Black Ops has still been a lot of fun, right? And speaking of it, Season 1 was coming out next week on December 10th, but in a blog post, Activision has said, quote, it's an unprecedented amount of free content, talking about coming in the Season 1 update, right? And the teams are currently prepping for the biggest Season 1 launch week ever seen, end quote, right? I think that's like 98% true. I think the real reason, and this is just Jordan's thoughts here, they don't want to launch on the same day as Cyberpunk.
That makes very good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it makes sense.
I think, and this, I just think this is cool. We talk about power, right?
Yeah.
How much power do you have to have that you can pick whatever day in the year you want?
Yeah. No.
And all other game. Oh shoot. Well, because wasn't there another game that was launching this? Not even the same day, but they like moved it to January because they didn't even want to compete.
Oh yeah, I would be as far. I would be
Red Dead
90 days out.
Red Dead did this too. Everybody's like looking. Oh, they moved it to November. Okay, move ours out.
Yeah, I would go 90 days. I don't want to be. I would go 90 days before or 90 days after. No wiggle room there.
I mean, they got a government grant to build their game, and they took it from Bohemia, right? Like that's just their style.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I mean, people. I guess there's a lot you can do in a week, but at this point, like just a week difference, all the solid stuff is done. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll polish a few things here and there, twist a couple knobs, but I think the main reason they're doing it is because they don't want to launch with Cyberpunk.
That makes total sense.
And honestly, that's why I respected that one developer. I forget who it was, but I'm going to go buy his game now because he's like, Cyberpunk is launching in December. We're going to wait till January. Like, they just came out and said it. I wish developers would do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I think it's smart. Makes total sense.
So anyway, but so sorry, the new date for the launch of Cold War Season 1, which will, I believe, also update Warzone as well, will be December 16th, just the very next week.
Oh, okay. Another game that moved was The Medium.
Were they the ones that...
Medium, Jimmy Figueroa in chat says The Medium moved. They moved from December to, ready? January 28th. And that makes sense because that looks to be like a single player dual game kind of first that doesn't have a history franchise behind it, so you're not getting return players, you're getting first time players. January 29th is probably a smart move. Yeah. 30 days, probably 45 days later. Yeah.
Well, January and February historically doesn't have a lot of
titles.
Titles. I mean, Titanfall was one year that.
Well,
and that's when I bought it. So yeah.
Titanfall was March.
And to be honest with you,
that's right.
But Apex was February out of nowhere.
I bet you some of these developers want to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta play this game. I don't want to work.
That's what's going on.
Guys, I know we're supposed to finalize this, but Cyberpunk is coming.
That's good. You we take a week? So
yeah.
But what's very interesting, like, okay, I'll be honest. Ever since The Witcher 3, I've been a hardcore fanboy of CD Projekt Red.
I can tell.
They're my favorite developer as of right now.
I'm nervous.
I think The Witcher is the greatest game ever. Witcher 3 is the greatest game ever made. I think CD Projekt Red, like Rockstar, has earned my trust.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And they said earlier, I think it was a little while ago, but they said they want Cyberpunk 2077 to be their crowning jewel of this generation.
Wow.
That's why they added the genital customization.
Yeah. How do we make people never forget our game? Sliders.
How do we make sure that it's a memorable game? Balls.
But I mean, just statements like I feel like CD Projekt Red. I mean, they've proved it with Witcher 3. I mean, I feel like they're focused. I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I literally can't wait.
So let me tell you why I'm nervous.
I can't hold in my.
Can I tell you why I'm nervous?
Why?
Sure.
Today, I did a gamer mental health analyzation.
You were telling me about this before the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I put all of the games that
Sorry,
I
I
have
didn't mean to
beat in the past in the past year on a board, and very few games have I beat. But the ones I have, Red Dead Redemption is probably the longest, biggest game. Red Dead Redemption 2 that I've beat. The Forza games I've beat consistently, single player, like campaign, and then it's all multiplayer basically. And Cyberpunk, I just am nervous that I'll get in and I might feel overwhelmed with so much to do. Witcher, ready? You want to know how many hours I have in Witcher? The furthest I've ever been in Witcher.
12 hours. Because you play 3 hours at a time every couple years.
Yeah, furthest I've ever been is the botchling mission.
Yes. Yeah. Get Jordan's opinion. How many hours?
Yeah.
How
many hours in do you think is the botchling experience? 4 hours? 3 hours?
But see, that's all. Like, are you strictly just doing the main story, or are you
no,
doing
I'm doing
stuff?
some side quests. Let's say I do on average like 3 side quests before hitting the botchling.
Okay, I would say 7 to 10 hours.
It's basically the first main mission after the tutorial zone.
Yeah, White Orchard.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll change it. I would say 6 to 8 hours. See, no, I'd say 7 to
no,
10. If
but
you're
he's-
doing side stuff.
He's played it a couple times, again and again and again.
Yeah,
But
so
he's still
keep in
doing all
mind-
the side stuff.
Keep in mind, I've played it.
How many times have you
I think
women?
3 or 4 times I've tried to jump back into Witcher, and that's as far as I've made it. And then I've jumped out, not because I didn't like it, but just it's so much to do. Right,
It's a heavy course.
the amount of hours I have in it. Ready?
I'm going to guess 25.
25. Wow.
Yeah.
And what did you guess?
12.
Spicy? 12. It's like 1 day and 7 hours or something.
I was close.
And so my fear is
Pretty good.
My fear is Cyberpunk.
That's
like,
24.
A lot of ready for this. Like Hellblade is 8 hours. There's a bunch of games that are between 6 and 20 hours. Like I could have beat multiple games in the time that I just made it past the tutorial zone of Witcher, and that's my
Forza
only
Horizon.
fear. Not that Witcher's bad. Witcher's not bad. It's just it's such a commitment. It took me years to finally get married because I have commitment issues.
In real life or in a game?
In real life.
Okay, sorry.
Both.
Oh.
In a game I don't pull the trigger either in the game. But
In the game, I do.
but in a game
Well,
game
it depends
that's
on the repercussions. I want the good
that's
ending.
so ambitious and so big and so detailed, I am afraid that I'll have that issue. That's my fear. And I don't want to. I want to experience it all the way. I guess I've just got to man up and commit.
Yeah.
Does nobody
But
else have that
with-
fear? No?
No, I enjoy a nice big steak meal, and that's what
I
I'm
mean,
getting.
look
Yeah,
look
yeah.
what we did with Assassin's Creed. 35 hours in, and I'm only 2 hours into the story.
See, that's what
I'm
I'm
like
I mean?
60 hours in the exact same spot as him.
See, that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of because
But I-
I'm tired of starting games and not beating them.
That being said, developers are smart people, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They purposely made the campaign shorter because they knew people weren't finishing it, right? And I'm sure they take into
Oh, I
effect.
see.
I'm sure they're like, okay, why are they not finishing it? We obviously want to offer a lot of things to do, but how do we keep? You know what I mean? What's actually really interesting is there's actually a lot of logistics that go into making a game.
Oh,
Like,
no.
of course.
Just
I
from
don't
that
believe
level.
that one bit.
Yeah, just from
Well,
that
just
level.
from a storytelling, there's
Yeah.
a really good book called Dragon Slayer that talks about the storytelling, how to write a story for a video game, and it's just sort of fascinating because the casual person, like at least me, anyways, I never thought about this before, but they talk about that when you're filming a movie and telling a story, you control where you're taking the audience. In a video game, the audience gets to decide where to
Yeah.
go, and you've got to figure out how to tell your story or allow your story to be told when the audience is in control. It's really interesting.
Well, it's super. I mean, we used to when we played Overwatch very heavily. We used to watch Jeff Kaplan. He would do those developer diaries every so often, and it was always fascinating to like when he would explain things. It's like this is how we have to think, right? And he would explain something or why they made a decision or why they did this, and it was always super fascinating to me because it's like, oh, I didn't think like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you really have to have.
Yeah.
Developers are talented people. I will give them that.
Defense Trader in chat says, "Get good at Gwent and power through. It's worth it."
Okay, so what? Every open world game is doing this, and I think every game in the world is going to start doing this. Cyberpunk
game within a
included.
game.
What game do you think they're going to have in the game that will then become a standalone game later?
It's always a gambling-esque game where you get to bet.
Do you think in
money.
Cyberpunk it'll just be poker, and then they'll come out with just Cyberpunk
I would
poker?
love that.
That would be hilarious.
That would be great.
What if they do like a video game? So you're playing a video game within a game.
I think it's going to be another card game,
Yeah.
and I think
Futuristic Gwent.
it'll
Yeah.
probably be
It'll be called.
like a digital
Swent.
card game.
Yeah.
Swent.
Gwent.
I don't know.
That's a really good
It'll
title.
be Gwent 10.
Yeah.
Gwent revived.
Well, we do know that Siri visited Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It was a different.
Maybe she dropped a Gwent
Look,
card. A
even
Gwent
a
pack.
even a game as serious as The Witcher.
It's like something like she went to the bathroom. She dropped a deuce.
She dropped a Gwent pack. Someone picked it up and
They're
decided,
like,
hey,
wow, this
I'm
is
gonna
an
market
amazing.
this.
There's the lore. I actually do have the lore book coming next week that explains the founding of Night City. I'll let you know if that's.
So
in
what
there.
is your game plan to jump into like a Cyberpunk? Because by the time we talk next week, we're gonna have played this. Do you just
I already took the day.
do
off
I
work.
just have to ignore every other game and just buckle down and make sure?
You don't have to.
But it's highly recommended.
You get to. Okay. There's a big difference.
I
Yeah.
told myself I'm not gonna do what I did with The Witcher but I probably am.
Power through.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to
Okay.
power through. Because remember
My
what
problem,
The Witcher...
My problem is that
You-
Jordan. I know Jordan.
You guys said I changed after that game.
You
did.
You did. You went into like a slight state of depression for about a week.
Was it because the game was over and I was sad or something?
It was just like
You had dark rings under your eyes. This
was like
this
you
was
had-
like months. This was
It's
like 3
like
months worth.
It's like you had come. It was like PTSD. It's like you had come back from you had witnessed a tragic situation or something.
I did. You should have seen the choices
chose
I had
Triss.
to make. Yeah, you should see the choices I had to make in that game.
Andrew Courtney in chat, thank you for the super chat. But he says, "Are you worried Cyberpunk won't live up to the hype since it's not optimized till next year?" Spicy, what do you think?
I mean, granted, there's always a fear that I'm going to die tomorrow.
Sure,
There's a fear that yes, this game won't be good.
sure.
But I'm
Yeah.
the pedigree
Well,
is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
The
like
game
I,
developer is there.
like I said, they've earned my trust, right? So I
Yeah.
trust that they're going to make a good game. As for being optimized till next year, that's just for Series X and S, right? I mean, actually, right now, the game in its performance mode, which is a part of the patch, is running at 60 frames on the Series X and the PlayStation
Okay.
It's just
5, right?
but
the
shaders and
all the bells and whistles are coming next year.
Okay,
I mean, if you're asking the question like
so you don't
that
think
type of
that-
fight, like graphically and
Yeah.
stuff, I mean, no, the game already looks good.
when we've seen it, so we know
Yeah.
what we're getting looks wise, right?
Yeah.
But how funny would it be? I mean, it wouldn't be funny. It would be if this
You
game
jinx
doesn't.
this game, so help me, David. I will punch you in the tooth.
No, if it doesn't live up to that, which doesn't seem like it is going to, but like I think it would be the biggest fall ever
Yeah, I don't
because of how this has got to be the most
Bigger
hyped
than
game.
Rome?
This has got to be
Yeah.
I think this would be the equivalent, the digital Rome.
I think this game itself is bigger than Rome.
No, don't you think with the expectation and hype, if it doesn't deliver, which I think we would know that we would already be hearing stuff, right? But if it doesn't deliver, I don't think another game has been. It would be like Red Dead probably was close, but I think Cyberpunk has surpassed it in hype.
I think I would put it
Yeah.
equivalent to Red Dead 2.
Sure.
I would. They're totally
Well, I mean,
related.
so when we play it next week, like when we come back at next Friday and talk about it, we're all going to be in the honeymoon phase, right? I mean, the game's
I'll still be all the genital.
What day? Wait, what day does it drop?
It for us December 9th at 5 p.m.
But what day is that? What day is it? 4th?
I
so
believe
5
it's
days
Wednesday.
from now.
I believe it's Wednesday.
So we'll have a good 2 days.
Wednesday?
If you,
Yeah, because it originally was Thursday. I
If you-
believe now for us it's Wednesday at 5 p.m.
if you don't sleep,
I took the
you-
day. I took
I
both
think I
days.
you can
scheduled
get a
some
good
things that day.
12 to 20
Noob
hours in.
mistake.
You can get 12 to 20 hours in before the podcast.
Yeah.
Our goal
No,
is
I
to
mean, let's
be-
be honest. I mean, the first week of the game, you're usually in the honeymoon phase, and you start to notice the stuff afterwards. Look, I'm sure there's going to be bugs and fixes and things they can improve, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. The Witcher, they completely revamped the UI on the consoles, and that was much better, right? I mean, but that's the thing I like about CD Projekt Red. They're committed to making their games better, right? Again, they've proved that to me with The Witcher 3 and the Witcher series, right? But no, I think it'll live up to my hype, which is right now through the roof. But I'm really excited.
That is
I mean,
exciting.
this is. I think you're gonna enjoy.
See,
the game.
Psychotic asked, would it be bigger letdown than Anthem? Absolutely. Anthem wasn't a known entity BioWare, I guess, is, but Anthem was a new game with a lot of hype, but Cyberpunk's a new game, but it's coming from,
And I'll be honest, like,
which it feels bigger. It feels bigger to me, I think.
I did have fun with Anthem, probably because we were playing with friends a lot. But Anthem made the mistake of they lied to us. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be the greatest endgame ever."
And there
You
was
mean
no
we don't
endgame?
We don't have endgame. That's how that conversation.
I don't
went.
like being lied to.
Yeah, so there was that issue.
Before we get to the questions, Blake Jensen left a super
Jenkins.
chat. Jenkins left a super
Dix
chat.
Tracy.
Online Squeedo left a super chat and said, "Challenge to people like X1 and myself. Play Cyberpunk for the rest of the month and post in the Game of the Month Club each day." That's a good. That's actually how the Game Club channel came about, so that we could not game. I mean, anyways, that's how the Game Club channel came about, so that we could finish more games. So absolutely, there you go. If you have the same issue that I have, which I'm sure a lot of people have, failure to complete games, join us over on the Game Club channel. And thank you for the super chat, Blake.
My biggest issue with Cyberpunk right now is what difficulty am I going to play it on?
Oh, I think you got to go normal. Like,
I don't know,
first
because
time.
a game like that, like I don't want to replay that game to get the hard achievement. You know what I mean?
No, I can't. Oh.
So I had to see what the achievements are, right? If difficulty's tied to an achievement, right? But the other thing is, do I just go like The Witcher 3, where I did the main story first and then worried about side quests later? Or do I play like Valhalla, where I did literally none of the story and did all the side stuff? You know what I mean?
Rose City Gamer has a great suggestion. He says games like that, like a Cyberpunk, like a Red Dead, like a Witcher. He says I make a plan. He says, okay, today I'm gonna just do story mission. Then tomorrow I'm gonna do side missions, and he just jumps back and forth and goes in like that. That's not bad. That's a nice plan. I like that. That brings us to the last segment of our show. This is a segment where we take your questions.
That's
to
it.
Submit a question.
And that's it.
To submit a question, you can do so each and every single week over on YouTube, youtube.com/XoneBros. Hit the community tab, and as long as you're a member, you can submit a question there. Colm Brown writes in and says, hey, bros, it seems like these save points. Remember last week we had the save point?
Yes.
He said in southern Utah, it's a big metal sphere that came out of the middle of nowhere. He says, it seems like these save points are popping up regularly now. First in Utah, then Romania, and now one is appearing in California. What is going on? I'm patiently waiting for a UK one to appear so I can go to it and worship the gaming gods. Colm Brown.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I feel like people just need to consult me before they do things, because I have great ideas. So the one in Utah, they took it down, right?
Sure.
And some joker, come on, man,
Some
Yahoo. He videotaped the group of them taking it down. I don't think it was the park rangers or anything. I think it was like the group that did it, and then he submitted it to like the local news station, and like they're taking credit for it and blah blah. No, you don't do it that way. You keep it a mystery, man. It's much more fun when it's a mystery.
Oh, yeah.
You keep it a mystery.
Someone should have snuck in at night.
This is why I'd be a fantastic artist, because I'm not selfish.
Wait. The guy, like the group that put it there, came in and took it away?
I don't know if it was that. Someone took it away.
Okay.
And they videotaped them taking it away from their cell phone, and they submitted it to one of the local news stations here, right?
Well, but how is it?
How much cooler would it have been if those park rangers, they were counting sheep the first time? Let's say they're counting sheep again.
And it's gone.
And they're like, where'd it go?
That's a second news story.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's so much the mystery.
Whoever was directing this mystery messed up.
That's they should have called me and said, hey, Jordan, what do you think we should do? I say, hey, just
keep it a mystery.
Yeah, keep it a mystery. Don't be selfish. Don't take credit. Just keep it a mystery.
I don't like knowing that Darth Vader hates sand.
Yeah,
I hate it. I would have never liked to have known that.
You got to keep it. 75% of the news story is the fact that no one knows how it happened.
Yeah. I like that. Well done. Thank you very much, Colm, for writing in. Junior Wing King writes in and says, bros, what is up, dudes? You answered my question 2 weeks ago about there being cons with the Series X console. The example I gave was that Assassin's Creed Valhalla's quick resume wasn't working, and I was bummed about it. I'm here to say that it's back again and seems to be working flawlessly. That is a huge quick resume
it sounds
feature.
like
is nice.
They turned off the quick resume feature for a little while during launch to figure things out.
Yeah, I don't know why. He says, my question tonight stems from Assassin's Creed as well. With the highly anticipated Cyberpunk 2077 less than a week away, I'm very excited to check it out. But I'm afraid spending too much time in a new game will prevent me from coming back to beat Assassin's Creed, which I've already sunk 40 very enjoyable hours into and not even halfway done, I think. How do you bros handle, we were just having this conversation, how do you bros handle the current game you're playing when a newer, shinier one is right around the corner? Do you just try to grind it out, or do you come back to it in pieces? At what point do you go back to it, or does it get buried in your backlog forever? Multiplayer games with friends throws an even bigger wrench into the mix, sadly. He says, I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. My fiance and I have started a tradition on Fridays where we pop you up on the big screen with the pizza in front of us.
Ooh.
You bring us so much joy, or
awesome.
is it the pizza? It's both. Us bros and pizza go together.
Yeah.
That's it. So we were going over this, but now in Assassin's Creed, let's go with Jordan. I think Jordan has the best strategy. I myself always say, oh, I'll go back to it, but then I never do, so it gets lost in my backlog. But Jordan, you're a power thrower.
I try to be.
Yeah. So explain, give your strategy, give your plan. Games you're in before Assassin's Creed comes out. What is your power through? Cyberpunk. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm power through it. You just got to power through it. I mean,
do you ever say, okay, I'm going to go back to a game? What's the strategy?
I'll go back. Like this week, I'll probably dive into Dragon Quest because I was excited for that game. I won't finish it before Cyberpunk, right? So for single player games, this week, all the single player games I play this week are going to have to be put on the back burner.
Oh, okay.
Because Cyberpunk does take priority. Yeah. But I mean, I do try and power through games, right?
You do. I mean, you power through Call of Duty.
I'm actually powering through a game right now That's a different type of game. It's a multiplayer game. It's called Vigor. And I'm trying to fit. My goal is actually to finish that battle pass before Cyberpunk comes out.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm
a
46
grind.
right now.
That is a grind. Spicy.
You're what? 46?
Yeah, I got 4 more.
Dude, that's a big grind at the
How
end.
in the world are you doing this?
You've
The
got
other-
to. You've
the
got
other
to.
night,
You've
my-
got to extract.
The other night, my son woke up at like 3 in the morning, and I put him to bed, and I thought,
Screw it. I'm
I'm up.
staying up.
and I went and played.
That's
I went and
hilarious.
played. It was pretty
How is the competition at 3 a.m.?
It's actually better. I think that's how I'm doing it. Because,
yeah, it's easier?
Yeah, no one's on.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't switch from Lone Wolf to just straight single player. Lone Wolf seems to be a little bit more competitive. Also,
But Lone Wolf gives you that boost. I've been doing Lone Wolf
an
for
XP
the
boost. It
Yeah.
does give you an XP boost. Also, trios and duos it's all experienced player. It's like teams of people who love the game, right? So you get killed a lot more. Go in solo, get as much loot, and just get out.
Keeping that game as an example, I'm gonna power through those last 4 levels.
Yeah.
and it's gonna take a while, but
I
I'm
think
powering through.
I think Jordan has the best strategy. Spicy, what do you ever go? Have you ever said, "Oh, I'm going to go back to that game," and then you do, or is it usually you forget about
It's
it?
a tragedy. My
Yeah.
experience is a tragedy.
Yeah,
I don't go back. I want to go back, but I never go back.
Never
it's just
happens.
a really sad story.
yeah. I think that's most people. Junior Wing King, power
Yeah.
through,
Good luck.
power
But
through. God,
the problem is because once you try to finish that game, another pretty toy gets put in
Yep,
front of your
yep.
face, and then you go for that one.
yeah, it's nonstop. Great question. Thank you very much for writing in. Coates McGoats writes in and says, "Hey bros, just wondering if you could urge the people to try out Dragon Quest XI. It just came to Game Pass today, and it's the first time this historic franchise has come to a non-Japanese console.
It's a big deal.
If it performs well, we might see more support from Japanese studios and more JRPGs on the Xbox. Thank you for all you do." I mean, Jordan is
I'll be
definitely
diving in.
I actually had pre-downloaded this game months ago and was disappointed to find out that, this is just a pre-download. But yeah, definitely. We did play this game. In fact, we have T-shirts sometimes that we wear that is from Dragon
Oh, I
Quest
looked
11.
down. Yeah, I wore that shirt yesterday.
Yeah.
It's my favorite shirt.
Yeah.
It's got the people
It's a
on it.
Dragon Quest
So
shirt.
JRPGs are a lot of fun. I think Coates makes a great point. If you're curious, if you like JRPGs or you've never played a JRPG, go and jump over and try out Dragon Quest XI. See what it's all about. Give it support so that we do get more of these JRPGs. And to be fair, Microsoft and Phil Spencer has been very clear and very aggressive about getting JRPGs or Japanese studios on the
And
console.
this game, I mean, it's a fun game. Like we played the demo at E3. I have played it a little bit on the PlayStation because I have a PlayStation, so I played it there.
Yeah.
But it's a really fun game. If you like, I mean, I don't want to. It's hard to compare it to different games. I mean, it's a Japanese role playing game, but it's really fun. So, and I think you'll like it. And he's right. It's the first time this game has ever come to a non-Japanese console. And best part about it is
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, so you can just go ahead and download it.
There's 11 of this game. So
Yeah.
It's
Keep
a
in mind-
Final Fantasy, I believe, actually got their idea from Dragon Quest.
usually when you have 11 renditions, it's pretty good.
They've been around.
Brave Little Toaster. Not Brave Little Toaster.
Land Before
Land
Time?
Before Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brave Little Toaster. Same time period, but Land Before Time has a lot of those
Yeah.
videos, you know?
What's actually one cool feature, just to whet your palate,
Final
is
Fantasy.
in Dragon Age 11 on
Dragon
the Xbox.
Quest?
Dragon Quest 11 on the Xbox. You can change it to retro mode,
Ooh.
which puts you in the old top-down NES.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You can do that. I've seen that. Great question. Thank you very much. Great statement, Coates. Last but not least, we've got Psychotic. Psychotic writes in today and says, "What is going on, my bros? With the countdown official underwear?
That's
What
good
is
underwear.
with us today?
I don't
That's
know.
good underwear.
With the countdown official
Dick's
underwear.
Tracy. Official underwear.
I have 2 quick questions. First, how many hours will it take Spicy to actually start Cyberpunk from the character creation? And 2, with new info about classes, which are you going with now? Thanks for all you do, and expect a package soon for Christmas. Thank you very much, Psychotic. First, let's address Spicy's question to Spicy. Spicy, how many hours will it take you from the content creation screen to the actual game?
So being very serious,
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Judging on my past games that I have enjoyed the customization, like
Sure.
your Skyrims and your when it gets detailed, I spend a lot of time. I'm guessing 2.5 hours.
Okay, I could see that.
That's-
if it's super in depth.
I'm probably going to take 2.5 hours to
not play the game.
To detail your character.
Yeah, that's my guess. So that's a good question, but probably that.
Classes. Let's review the classes real quick of this game. We've got Netrunners. That is a sneaky stealth class. We've got the Solo class, which is going to be focused on combat and fighting. And then we've got a Techie class, which the press right now is, at least where I got this from, is debating whether or not it's a real class because it's kind of a combo of the two, but it is focused on engineering and medical.
Well, I do wonder about the classes because wasn't CD Projekt Red talking about like you can build your character your way type of thing? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I wonder if
that
you'll be
ESO
able.
approach.
Yeah,
where you
I
can
wonder
build,
if
like,
you'll
hybrid
be able
classes.
to, basically like that. Maybe do a little bit of the Netrunner and then switch over to this or blah blah blah. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to look at the full skill trees.
Yeah.
Check it out. I do know that I am starting out as a nomad. Though.
See, I'm not. I'm doing total corporate.
Corpo. Yeah, he's going Corpo.
Corporate Netrunner. That's
You should
totally
do
what I'm
Street
doing.
Kid.
Street Kid is a thing.
Yeah, so basically you pick your
street urchin?
Backstory.
You pick your backstory,
Okay.
and your backstory actually depends on which area you go through the tutorial. Essentially,
Can I be someone from like the Wastelands or whatever?
that's
from
the
outside?
nomads. Yeah.
That's Nomads.
So
I might go- I
I'm
might
doing
go
the
nomad.
nomad.
Yeah, drum circle place.
Mark made fun of them because they're kind of hippies,
Hippies.
but they're futuristic hippies, right? No, I'm doing it because I want the role play of like, rough and tough kid coming to the big city.
Street,
You know what I mean?
Street Kid could be cool.
Street Kid and then
Okay.
Corpo. Ooh, Corpo, man.
Yeah, see, I'm going Corpo because it looks awesome.
I'm going Street Kid.
Yeah, I'm doing Nomad.
I come from the slums.
I mean, to be honest, I'm actually going to do all three on different saves, but Nomad will be the first playthrough.
That is cool. That is really cool. Great question, dude. A week. Cyberpunk, here it comes.
So
a week away.
Do you think this game is going to be like Witcher, where you have different endings and stuff? Or
I think so, yeah.
okay, yeah, I would assume so too.
Which, yeah, that was really stressful.
Because
like,
you had to do certain things at certain
you
times.
want, and it's hard because it's on some of those decisions are timer based, so you're like, oh shit. And I wasn't smart back then, so I didn't have multiple saves. Whereas now I do.
This is why he had bags under his eyes.
yeah, because you're like,
See, look, it was really stressful. Great question, Psychotic. Thank you very much for writing in. That does us for this week, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out and joining us on another episode of the XoneBros. If you haven't yet, come over. Head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/XoneBros. Subscribe to us there. We have videos dropping multiple times a week. Make sure you head over to iTunes, rate, review, and subscribe to us there as well. It helps the show. It's a big week coming up, guys. Cyberpunk is here. Enjoy it. Get ready. We'll see you guys next week. Have fun. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was the show. Do you know how to turn the chat? David just bounced on out of here.
Yeah, I can do it.
Oh, and he's
I
not
don't-
sitting at his desk.
I don't
We'll
want
throw
to.
it out on me.
I don't want to do it anymore. Since he's